So I have an idea for you. Let's make a movie full of a whole bunch of short clips, like Fantasia. We're gonna visit Latin America and animate the people and situations that we find there. Okay, like Saludos Amigos. No, this will be better because we'll use some stereotypical music for each clip. Like Saludos Amigos. No, that movie sucks. We're gonna remake it with shorter clips and an actual through line. Why don't we just make a movie with a storyline? This is the World War and we don't have enough people to help us animate. Don't you remember anything from my first video? This is Three Caballeros. Storyline. We open this movie on Donald's birthday. Already this has a more captivating story than Saludos Amigos. He finds a film strip of a penguin and we start Aves Rares, or strange birds. We go to the North Pole where we meet some typical suburban penguins. Like most northern suburban people, this penguin wants to live where it's warm. He tries to leave, and tries again. At least he's not a quitter. He finally perseveres by building himself a boat and heading into fog so thick he can cut it with a knife. I may moan about the constant gags in these Disney movies, but when it actually has something to do with the storyline, it's fine. Just stop it with the pointless gags, 1940s Disney. The sun comes out and immediately becomes the villain, and his boat melts in the middle of the ocean. My daughter thinks this is the funniest part of the movie, and I love listening to her little giggles. And yeah, it's a pretty good bit of physical humor. I mean, it's a cartoon, so is it really physical, or is it... It doesn't matter. Finally, Pablo makes it to the warmth of the tropics. But is he really happy there? In a bit of connection, we move from penguins to now tropical birds where Pablo has just moved. We meet an eccentric bird in our first pointless bit in this little movie. I'm really not a fan of this bird. He really doesn't show up much in this film, but I really just wish I could cut him from the whole draft entirely. And we discover a few other things about a couple other tropical birds. Next storyline. We meet a little gauchito who's hunting ostrich. And in a very creative switch, this narrator has no memory really whatsoever.
While looking around for the condors, I climbed to the top of a rock. No, come to think of it, it was a tree. Let's see, maybe it was a rock after all. Although I could swear it was a tree.
Which I find really to be very interesting. Now I just want the giant to eat him.
On the outside! Well, that's my job, don't you understand? An outside observer to pass the story along.
Some of us don't like the way you've been telling it.
And we find a flying donkey. What? This little boy plans to use this flying donkey to make some money. And forget Belle, this donkey definitely has Stockholm Syndrome for his master. Do all pets have Stockholm Syndrome? Next short, we meet Jose, who we already met in Saludos Amigos. Jose talks to us about Bahia.
Donald, have you ever been to Bahia?
And that stupid eccentric bird that annoyed us earlier comes back to annoy us again. The gang takes a colorful train to a place where real people roam the streets. And we get some really good live action / animation mixing. But I have one question here. Why is there only one woman in this town? Their population rates must be insanely low. Somewhere along the way we end up in the inside-out distortion room and we see that the animators have finally figured out how to make sound waves interesting. This is a huge step up from Fantasia. We have the main Three Caballeros segment. You know the song. Three Caballeros, the Three Caballeros, da 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 da. It's definitely an earworm. We get some background history on Mexico City, and we see that Donald apparently really loves women. I mean, the man doth protesteth too much. We also see that Donald is a crafty little booger. Whenever people are wearing a lot of clothes, it's majority men. But if we're, say, on the beach, half naked wearing bathing suits, it's all women. He's also massively creepy, looking through his expanding phallic object so that he can see all those half-naked women down on the beach. Although those half-naked women are really wearing more clothes than most Kardashians wear to the Gucci store. This movie makes it quite clear that it's every woman's job to laugh at every man's worst jokes. Donald isn't even funny here, but these women are just hanging on his every last word. Maybe there is hope for me. Donald, why are you so awkwardly frisky? Act like you've seen a woman before, buddy. Also, don't you have a woman at home? Careful, dude. Daisy could totally take you. Okay, I don't get the cactus scene, but it still holds my attention. And I don't think I'm supposed to really make sense of any of this movie for real. Especially the last half is just a cacophony of insanity. From the very first moment, this storyline is much more interesting than Saludos Amigos. Does that make it good, though? Well, no. About the biggest storyline here is the Donald hits on women theme. I am at least glad that Donald is here to pull some of the storylines together, unlike in Saludos Amigos, but it's still not much of a storyline. And I'm just not a fan of movies that really don't have a storyline. It's way better than last week's story, and I think it's also better than Fantasia. So, storyline this week gets 5th place. Music. Music is similar to last week, but it does seem to be done a bit better. Either that or else I just like this movie better, and so I'm much happier watching it, which is a real possibility. But there are objectively certain things I really do like better about this music. For instance, the Gauchito scene has some form of poetic verse that they use.
This donkey should be worth a fortune. I couldn't let him get away. So I made up my mind that I'd catch him if it took me the rest of...
Which makes that scene much more interesting and pleasing to listen to. The Three Caballeros song is easy to listen to, but I think is probably played way too often. But because it is such an enjoyable earworm, and doesn't get particularly annoying, or at least isn't quite to the point of annoyance yet, I put this a slot better than Saludos Amigos. That's not saying much. Animation. This movie is almost totally Saturday morning cartoon quality, but it's a fun Saturday morning cartoon. The animation style becomes a bit more contemporary and creative when it changes to the train scene going through cities and passes different terrain. But that scene is not very long. However, this is much more what I wish Saludos Amigos would have been. Heck, I wish Fantasia would have been a bit more like this. The thing that sets Three Caballeros apart is its ability to mix both live action with the said animation. The sets look like animated backgrounds, and the backgrounds look very similar to the sets. This creates an illusion where I don't always know which is being used, a background or a set, and I am fascinated by that. And this was what year? Wow, I am very impressed. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say that this would have been the equivalent of Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1944. For its mixing of live action and animation, it receives 4th place for this initial ranking, and I am pleasantly surprised to see that it's gotten that high in this category. Character. Donald is surprisingly amorous, for lack of a better word. Given these scenes, I have to wonder if Donald's last name is actually Trump. All the characters in this are really pretty much just stereotypes. As far as characters go, there's not a lot, and what there is stereotypical or awkward. So, it receives number 5 for character development. Even the 7 dwarves had more character development than they hit on Snow White. Come on, Donald, you can do better. Technology. There is finally a little use of multiplane. Yay! But, as I said before, what sets apart this movie is the live action and animation mixing. The use of practical animation backgrounds with animated backgrounds makes for a seamless effect. Whatever they did, I love it. By the way, if Hollywood is listening, because I know Hollywood execs make up all 50 members of my viewing audience, Please take inspiration from Disney. I know you have CGI, but just because you have CGI doesn't mean you can't throw a practical effect in there every once in a while just for farts and fuddles. Three Caballeros receives 5th place for technology. This is actually one of those times when I wish for a better number for a movie because of its live-action mixing, but I can't bring myself to make Three Caballeros higher than Fantasia's Fantasound or Pinocchio's multiplane use. Three Caballeros seems to be a Saludos Amigos redo. It has far more compelling stories and is much more enthralling than Amigos, though, and the animation is just a little bit better. Overall, I'd have to say that between Caballeros and Amigos, Three Caballeros is the far superior film. We now also have a new tie between Fantasia and Dumbo. Will we ever find out which one of them is the superior film? Who knows? Hey everyone, thanks for watching my videos. Please press that like button down below. You can subscribe here, or I have a whole bunch of videos up above that you can choose from. Go ahead, get clicking.